Three big dummies sitting on a couch in the morning. Yeah. And Fox and Friends, this is them leading off the day. This is before Kevin McCarthy lost 3 votes, and they had to vote. They had to make a motion to adjourn for the evening so they could come back tomorrow and get some people to vote present so they could lower the statistical average or the statistical basis of the number that they had to reach. And, God. Like, some of them's going 15-3, and that makes a percentage. And if we need, how many do we need now? 7. 8. Does that mean we want 8 or we want 6? Fuck. Like, that's what's happening in McCarthy's office right now. And by the way, I know, but I'm not going to say, because on the off chance that some lunatic maggot troll is watching that also feeds into these yay RSBN feeds, tells them I don't want to help in any way. They just got to earn it on their own. Bootstrap, motherfucker, bootstrap.
All right, so today at noon, they are officially going to start the 117th U.S. Congress.
Yeah, that didn't turn out to be the case.
And Kevin...
Maybe tomorrow. Probably not.
Kevin McCarthy, it has been presumed, will be the next speaker, but you know what? And in fact, he's already moved in. He's moved into the speaker's office, and he's been working the phones, negotiating with holdouts.
No, they actually came into the office, and but I think it's a mistake to unpack. I'm just going to say that. I wouldn't pick the drapes yet.
Some are saying between 14, 15, or 16 different Republicans who are saying absolutely not to Kevin McCarthy. He can only afford to lose 4 Republicans. So right now, it looks like he will not get it on the first ballot.
Yeah. And the second and the third.
Yeah, there are 222 Republicans that will be sworn in today. The gavel will be removed from Nancy Pelosi. Republicans, they have said over and over.
By the way, she handed it over. That's how it works. It wasn't removed. They didn't come and seize it from her. Asshole. Secondly, she got to pick whose hands it went into because these fuckers couldn't get their act together.
They're so eager to start these investigations, to look into the DOJ and the
super eager.
The FBI, their abuse of power, allegedly. They're
yeah. Allegedly looking into it, or allegedly the abuse of power?
Anxious to look at Hunter Biden and his influence with his dad, exactly the origins.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Of COVID, but first they have to elect a speaker, and they don't have the votes. If he doesn't get the number.
Look at Kilmeade. He's got papers in front of him. He doesn't like anything that he has to say.
Number of votes he needs the first time.
218.
Look at him like sneaking glances. My turn. Should I pipe in? Should I? Nobody's talking. Is my IFB off? Am I supposed to be talking right now? I hear noises, but it's a woman's voice, so I don't listen to what the words are. I just hear the dulcet tones.
Then there will be a second vote, which will be the first time that's ever happened in the last 100 years.
So, it's the first time it's happened in 100 years, not the first time it's ever happened, because ever would include previous. Never mind.
So the question is, what did Kevin McCarthy do, and what did he pledge not to do or to do that's ticked them off? They talk about swamp leadership. If you want a leader that actually produced over the last 4 years, no one has turned over more seats, who was the biggest surprise in 2020 than Kevin McCarthy. And then he has a slight margin this time. He can only lose 5 votes and 4 votes, and he's already lost 5. So he sat down with Gates, Lauren Boebert, and Scott Perry. None of them left the meeting converted. But interesting, Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska said Monday that a band of moderate Democrats would work with Republicans, would work with Democrats to elect McCarthy. They are frustrated, as are a lot of people. Think about this. You're not saying 50-50 who's going to get the 51st vote. That's controversial. Right. You're talking about he's 85% there. Almost everyone's there.
He has more votes than anyone else. And who else do they have?
No. Hakeem Jeffries has more votes for speaker than Kevin McCarthy does. Dum-dum.
Right. Why won't they, if they said, hey, listen, he won't do anything on the border. He's not doing anything with Hunter Biden. He's not going to do anything to go really in spending. None of this is true. So it's almost as if they're debating things that are their egos, nothing to do with America. I'm not even talking about.
Right. I'm sorry, Trump supporter says what?
Republicans. Republicans are Democrats. They can't grab onto anything except for, I guess they want to get a little bit more notoriety in their lives.
Well,
What? Are you trying to tell me that there are chaos agent egomaniacs on the Republican side?
ultimately, and Brian, you mentioned Don Bacon. What Don Bacon, who is a Republican from the unicameral state of Nebraska, what he has suggested is that in the past, he said we're not going to be held hostage. However, right now, they are being held hostage.
Right, so I guess he was wrong. Are you sure he's unicameral?
He said yesterday, if McCarthy bows out, he may run a candidate against Scalise if Scalise is on the second ballot.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like, it's, you ever see those moon pillow ads and you're like, wow, beanbags are stupid, but they make it look so comfortable. I feel like I don't need one. I feel like I'm just on a feather bed, just being fanned with palm fronds.
He says that the guy he's got in mind, the person he's got in mind, is currently in Congress, but will not be in the next Congress. And so that means it looks like Fred Upton, who is leaving.
Or Lee Zeldin.
Congress. Now, the brilliance of that move is the fact that Democrats would vote for Fred Upton. He's a moderate. He also voted for the impeachment of Donald Trump. So essentially,
oh, please introduce that as a name. Oh God, it just keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. Like, imagine Kevin McCarthy trying to go to sleep tonight. The dude is gonna wake up with all of his teeth ground down to nubs. Oh, Scalise is way worse, but he doesn't have the votes. Oh God. Oh, this is amazing.
they're putting that out there as a backstop. Hey, you don't like McCarthy?
Look at him. Look at Kilmeade's dumb face.
How would you?
I know it's hard to tear your eyes away from her knees, which, because she's in a short skirt, are barely, somebody moved the flowers just to the left, just because whoever directs Fox and Friends is fucking gross.
You like Fred Upton?
What about Andy Biggs?
Andy Biggs will be on the first ballot.
Right. Andy Biggs thought it would be a great idea to take on Mark Levin. That'll really unite conservatives.
Sources also say.
Yeah, I think he's trying to be sarcastic.
And we were talking about this during the break, that he's willing to agree to this motion to vacate, which means McCarthy has agreed to say, if I don't do a good job, if you don't like me, you can vote me out.
Right.
Which is crazy.
It would take 5 people right now, but he's talking about just one person. Ultimately, though, if they had that vote, then a majority of people would stick up for him. Now, here's the thing.
But to me, that is the craziest thing to give into. How are you supposed to do your job and not?
Right, Brian. Hey, you're on to something, stupid.
You have 200 people you're going to be representing.
Right.
No, you don't. This is like 400 plus. It's not that 5 Republicans can move to vacate. 5 House members can do it. Unless the rules that they try to put forward is only people from the dominating party can have this vote, which is just hilarious. 5
don't like what you do, that you're out, and so conservatives who back McCarthy said, wait a second, why did you agree to that?
Right.
Because if you agree to that, then how effective are you going to be as speaker? You can't kiss everyone's butt in order to do that job. You got to do it.
Hi, dickhead. Your entire party is nothing but ass kissers and people who demand by force to be rimmed nonstop by those people. It's a fucking buttocks coin flip.
It's better for the whole, or dare I say, better for the country.
He probably said,
It is better for the whole, in general.
I'll do anything to become speaker, and then once I'm speaker, I'm going to do such a phenomenal job that they'll all agree with me.
But in whose eyes?
But here's the thing, Brian.
Right, in whose eyes? Because you're dealing with lunatics.
That rule used to be on the House. It was Nancy Pelosi who said, no, we're going to get rid of that. So anyway, the New York Post has got editorial, their lead editorial, is to these renegade Republicans. And the headline is "Stop Sabotaging McCarthy's Bid to be Speaker." And here's what they say. They say, okay, this is their plan of the Republicans, those renegade Republicans, the dissidents. Step one, rather than hit the ground running after 4 years out of power in the House, deny party leader Kevin McCarthy the speakership by a handful of votes. Step two, we got no idea. Actually, so what is their idea? Bob Good, who is one of these dissident Republicans, was on with Fox and Friends yesterday, and Greg Jenkins said, okay, you're not going to vote for Kevin McCarthy? Who are you going to vote for? Watch.
What we'll do is we'll block Kevin. There'll be, I suspect, 10 to 15 members who will vote against him on the first ballot tomorrow that will vote for Andy Biggs. But then I think you'll see on the second ballot an increasing number of members vote for a true candidate who can represent the conservative center of the conference, can motivate the base, inspire Republicans across the country, get to 218 votes, bring our
He means Trump.
Conference together to fight against the radical Democrat agenda, the most extreme agenda we've ever seen. I'm going to resist for a few more hours what I have resisted for the last several weeks, because, as you know, if we were to put forth a name right now over the last few weeks, that person would suffer all the attacks and retaliation and all the threats.
So you don't have a name. I mean, what leader?
Absolutely. Griff, you'll see that name tomorrow on the second ballot.
Griff did such a great job, just because Bob Good really is upset, reportedly, because Bob Good didn't get in, because Bob Good wasn't endorsed by Kevin McCarthy, and Kevin McCarthy financed the guy who was running against him in the primary because
Bob Good is a fucking lunatic and would pull shit like this and think it's smart.
Because the guy, the minority leader, always supports the incumbent.
Right.
So for this guy to be angry, he goes, well, he didn't call me right away after I won. Right. So is this personal? Yeah. Can anyone?
Yeah. She's so wise. Yeah.
Should not take this job if it's about your ego and your personal agenda. Right. The whole
I'm sorry. What? Trump supporter says what?
Thing should be service for the country, and the subset is your party. Please explain to me how this helps your party. You're looking like idiots in front of the country.
Exactly. Republicans.
Well, no. In their defense, they don't look like idiots. They are idiots, and people are seeing it. That's different than looking like idiots. It's not that the American people are mistaken in describing them as idiots. It's accurate.
Need to unite. The Democrats never seem to have this problem. It's the Republicans that can't ever get together.
Right.
And that's the kind of group you want in charge of all three branches of government.
The New York Post said they've been out of office for 4 years, or out of the majority for 4 years, and this is how they want to begin it, divided.
Can I just build on what you just said? It reminds me of 2 years ago when Nancy Pelosi, with a slight majority, had to deal with the left wing of her party. They clearly disagree with Nancy Pelosi. So to their credit, the squad is totally different on a different place than the speaker. So you knew they got to get behind closed doors and work it out. All they say is he's a swamp creature, or he didn't do this, or I don't like him. They don't like him. That's not an agenda.
So
this is Fox and Friends.
who are the names that the House Freedom Caucus and these dissident Republicans are talking about? I spoke to somebody very close to the House Freedom Caucus last night. They have two names, Steve Scalise and Donald Trump.
All right, so
please have someone nominate Trump tomorrow during the session. Somebody has to. For fuck's sake, somebody has to. Matt Gaetz said he would, and he didn't. Doesn't he have to? Doesn't he? Certainly he's got to be seeing on social media everybody calling him out that he said he would nominate Trump to be speaker, and he didn't. And please, someone nominate Donald Trump so he can get 4 fucking votes. Or 12. Some pathetic number.
So ballot number 1, the vote is today. You said at noon. If they don't have enough votes, it goes to ballot 2. And it sounds like, based on that soundbite, it happens today as well.
Right.
Genius. Wow, thanks. I'm so glad she's on the news to help us all work through this.
Absolutely. Kevin McCarthy privately has said he will do everything in his power to stay on the floor until he is elected.
Apparently, it was beyond his power to not go pee-pee.
And keep in mind, and for these dissident Republicans, there are rule changes that
A dissident is here.
they have had in the past where rather than a majority of 218, they could simply go for a plurality. And then Kevin McCarthy would win if they had that rule change. And then all these people who had said, never in a million years, suddenly he will be the speaker, and they will find the slim pickings on committee assignments going forward.
Yeah, so that's the idea, is that to solve this, he's going to punish all these people and then try to spend the next 2 years without them torpedoing everything. Dems should nominate Trump to troll the GOP. I was saying George Santos. I think they should nominate a Democrat, should vote for Jeffries, but nominate George Santos.
Now, you know what? Paul Ryan threw up his hand and said, I'm quitting.
It was originally 5 holdouts, and then 9 others wrote a letter saying they're going to hold out as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it's 14 now.
I'm Steve Ducey.
Thank you for the math at the tail end. And look at her, adding 9 and 5 without getting a nosebleed. And you guys said there would be no progress on Fox and Friends this year. Look at that. Basic addition, and nobody shit themselves. Obviously citation needed and not wanted, but that's it. That's the current state of affairs.